I'm going to share with you a dirty little secret about Leo suns. And I know I used to be one until I took my stargazing app and pointed it at the sun on my birthday several years ago and found out that I was no longer a Leo. They love to give, but their giving can only come from their heart, from deep within their heart. And it has to be their idea. And you must be grateful for what they have given you. Although, despite what you think, even though they'll be slightly bruised, if you're not grateful, they are still satisfied because it's coming from their heart. Guys, our last full moon was in Cancer Capricorn, that compassionate recognition of the self and others. And this full moon, conjunct Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, is the compassionate recognition of others in the self. The act of giving from the heart for the betterment of others is related to a concept in Buddhism called the Bodhisattva. This also touches on the polarity in the law of one of service to self versus service to others. Hey, beautiful souls, this is Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. How's everyone doing through this Venus retrograde and then the Mercury retrograde? Man, my body has been so tired, but my mind has been on fire. It feels like it is getting a little bit better, and I'm really excited about this next lunar cycle. I'll put a link below, guys. Check out my Mercury retrograde video. It's not just about the 3 weeks of Mercury, it's also about the entire cycle of Mercury and how we can work with it better. So today I'm going to talk to you about the second full moon in August. This happens on August 30th, the astrological energies and how they relate to the Bodhisattva, as well as some very interesting planetary aspects. So let's first get into the moon sun energy. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. We're going to go ahead and open up a browser and we're going to look at Stellarium, because I want to show you where this moon is. You guys can do this too. This is not a proprietary, this is free, stellarium-web.org. We're going to go right to 8:30 and we're going to find that moon. I can show you where it is. There it is. Look at that, moon and Saturn. What constellation? Oh, looks like Aquarius. Indeed it is. Okay, so here's the date. August 30th, 2023. I'm not making it up. The moon is actually in Aquarius. Let's go to the next morning and I'll show you where the sun is, just so y'all know what we're looking at. There it is, the sun right in Leo, okay? And Venus is in Cancer. All right, so let's get to work here. Let's look at this chart. Before I talk about Bodhisattva energy, I want to just go through the sun and the moon positions and what that energy feels like. And then we'll talk a little bit about Bodhisattva, what that means, and why I really feel like that concept applies to this full moon. So let's talk a little bit about Aquarius, because this axis is actually the Aquarius-Leo axis, and there's a whole lot of information out there about this axis. And when I looked at it, I just was like, wow, this is so service to self versus service to others. And we'll get into it, explain why. So the first thing we're going to talk about is this moon conjunct Saturn, retrograde Saturn in Aquarius. So for me, Aquarius is like the free flow of information so that mutation, metamorphosis, and inspiration can take root. It's kind of the breath of fresh air, of something new that the entire collective can feel. Whenever there's a swaying collective energy, like maybe when something goes viral or, a whole lot of people are in one space cheering or booing, that to me is very Aquarian energy. It's like something just overtakes the crowd and you can feel it. Okay, so that's where our moon's going to be. Now, Saturn is the ruler of this 3D reality, the ruler of time, the ruler of structure, and it's moving reverse in retrograde, reflecting and reworking the rules of the collective new age. And then in comes this moon, reflecting the sun in Leo energy through that Saturn in Aquarius energy. But what is the moon but our inner and emotional self, magnetizing energy to us based on what we feel? Because what we feel, when we feel something, the the frequency of that energy is so much higher than just a thought. So you can think a thought and have no emotional attachment to it, and that frequency is kind of normal. But if you think something or you feel something first, that energy of feeling is so much bigger, and the frequency waves are higher. They're more intense because they're closer together. Um, this is what triggers that law of attraction that we love to talk so much about in spirituality. But with Saturn, it's so much more serious. There's literally like a commitment and a sense of duty here. There is a responsibility here to take a vow, to make a promise towards service to others, the vows of the Bodhisattva. And I'll get into this after we talk about the sun. So now we have that collective duty, that emotional sense of duty, service to the collective over here on one side in Aquarius. And then we have Leo, the ego, the expressive outward self, the integration of the true self, very self-centered, yet at the same time, service. So Leo loves to give, right? Like how I opened this talk, this discussion. And the sun rules Leo. So the sun is very happy here. Leo is very happy with the sun here. This is a confident and dignified area of the sky. And this is the highest expression of ourself and our personality. There's a royalty here. There's a heart here. There's passion. And there's also ego. There's also a little bit of acting out in temper. And this is the self-centered with a capital S, for the self. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you, that we're talking about service to self and service to others in this balancing act of a full moon. Let's look at some pictures of the Bodhisattva. Let's just kind of take some of this energy in. This one is the first one that caught my eye. And, you first glance at it and you see a figure here that, I don't know, is maybe feminine, maybe masculine. I get more of a masculine vibe from this picture right off the bat. But he's holding what looks to be like a sunflower, right? Here. His right hand is open, palm facing upward. It could be the Hamsa hand upside down. It could be a coin. I'm not all that familiar with Hinduism or Buddhism, but I like that there's sort of an offering here. So the other hand is the flower, the sun, the self. And then the one that's opened up is the moon hand, the hand to service. So self and service here. And this right side is cushioned on a foot. The foot is cushioned on another flower. It looks like underneath, it looks like two, lion serpents or griffins or some sort of mythical creature underneath, supporting the power of this energy. And then on either side, you have these cones, and it just looks like there's this, maybe this is the soul star chakra up here that's connecting to the universal wisdom. So I love this image. You see a lot of different versions of the Bodhisattva. This is another version this is more of a Eastern Asian influence. And this one has many hands, right? So right here, the center of the self, with all of the hands reaching outward, and each hand is holding something, So feel free to pause these videos and just gaze at these images and kind of see what comes through for you. Some other interesting depictions. This is a painting. This almost looks indigenous, like Indian. So it's, is this a man or is this a woman? I'm not sure. This feels more feminine to me than the other two, because this one is kind of leaning back and just sort of being receptive to the energies. It could also be someone who's maybe just woken up from a meditation or coming out of a sleep. There's almost emotion to this figure when I look at it. And then finally, another one here, more of the kind of the same imagery, but this hand is in the Apana mudra, while the other hand is here. And again, it's the right side, just kind of resting. I also get a feminine vibe from this, but more of an aggressive feminine vibe. Again, maybe waking up from a meditation or getting ready to move forward through space. There's just a lot of movement in this position of the Bodhisattva. So I love the idea of this service. So let me explain to you guys a little bit more about what a Bodhisattva is. Some of you probably already know, but it's essentially someone that has dedicated their own awakening to the benefit of all others. So in I think it's my Mahayana Buddhism, the Bodhisattva is someone who has taken a vow to put others first. Now, a lot of us go into spirituality not because we want to serve others, but because we're hurting and we're wounded, and everything else that we've tried in 3D reality doesn't really seem to help us. So we turn to spirituality, we turn to meditation, we go within. And it's a very to me, it was for me too. It was a very selfish motivation to go into that space because I'm hurting and I'm wounded and things aren't working. And what is it that I need to do? How do I get better? And so with that daily meditation, with that selfish intention of trying to better ourselves, we end up developing a compassion for others because we can feel their pain. Once we're past a certain point, we can see their pain. We can even visualize what it might be like to be them, even our greatest enemies. And so as we heal ourselves, we naturally want to heal others. And a lot of us, after we've gone through the whole pandemic stuff and kind of realizing that the world isn't what we thought it was, are on this path. Okay, so how do we help these others? Because there's going to be another huge wave of awakening in the coming months and years. So, this article that I'm kind of paraphrasing for you guys states that there's 3 ways to become a bodhisattva, someone that dedicates their life to the service of others. You can be in the way of a king, just like the sun in Leo, where basically you help yourself first, and then you seek liberation for those that you reign over or those that you rule. There's the way of the captain, right? The captain of the boat, which to me feels like this Saturn moon energy. So you arrive with the folks, right? You take your passengers to the shore that you're seeking. So you can either help yourself first and then help others, or you can go on the journey with others as the captain. And then the final way is the way of the shepherd, those who shepherd the helping all others seek enlightenment first. Okay, so that's 3 ways we can be a bodhisattva. I feel like the shepherd energy is more of a Virgo energy, which we might be feeling more when the eclipses come. But right now, I feel like we're doing king and captain energy. So, do we help the collective or do we help ourselves first? Okay, so that's kind of how I wanted you to feel this full moon energy with me. Let me go ahead and talk about just a few more aspects that are super evident in this full moon energy. But before you do, guys, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. Just let me know I'm doing good. So here, let me tell you about a couple of other interesting aspects. Sometimes when I'm looking at full moon or new moon energy, I also like to look at where the nodes are and what the nodes are doing, and also what's affecting the nodes. So first we have Chiron conjunct the collective north node in Pisces. They're about 3 degrees apart. And how does this relate to Bodhisattva energy? This is someone who heals himself for the collective and then guides the collective towards universal love. So this may be our shepherd energy. Chiron with the North Node is the wounded healer teacher, shepherding humanity into that universal love, into that service towards others. The other thing that we've been watching for a while is this Pluto T-squaring our collective nodes. This has been an ongoing energy for most of the year. When Pluto was direct in the early spring, now that Pluto is retrograde, Pluto will make one last pass on our nodes. Now, the South Node in Virgo is healing the trauma of our motherly ancestors, right? We are all remembering our past lives. We are all remembering the wounds of our ancestors. We are saying, yes, we're taking the responsibility to heal these wounds. Remember this responsibility here, to heal those wounds in honor of our ancestors' ability to bring us to this point. Balancing this with is painful. It's a liberating, transforming process of spiritual death, rebirth, and awakening. And a lot of us that are in this part of our journey are feeling this together as a collective. So then we have the fire of Leo lighting up the moon, and we're literally in this collective like rising of the phoenix. And I think a lot of this is going to become manifest when we hit the eclipses in October. So, but there's a lot of beneficial aspects to Pluto too, right? So Pluto's the alchemical magician, the magic of our zodiac, the magic and the medicine of our zodiac. And Pluto's doing a lot of interesting things besides just squaring the nodes. There's a couple of beneficial aspects. There's two trines. And the first trine is Pluto trining a loosely conjunct Jupiter and retrograde Uranus. So this to me, and I've talked about this in other videos, is the truth of the self and the metamorphosis of the self into newer and higher frequencies. Uranus rules our nervous system. And so, we talk about ascension symptoms. A lot of people have those. A lot of people think about those. And this may be where we feel that on this full moon, because you have a heightened energy with the moon reflecting that Leo sun energy into our night sky. And then you've got Uranus, trining with Pluto, the magician, and that heightened emotional energy. So we might feel ascension symptoms, and then we might be able to manifest some new abilities. Mercury, let's see, Pluto's also trine on Mars. So that trine to Mars, it actually a couple of weeks ago was creating a grand trine, and this is a tremendous use of power in Virgo. This is like service to the divine will of spirit, which is literally creation. So there's going to be a very hands-on ability to do the service to self with the intention to become better and serve others. Pluto also sextiles Neptune in Pisces, and this is a surrender to the power of spirit. Some other interesting aspects are Mercury retrograde, trine on Jupiter and Uranus. This is unusual and unique thought forms coming through your head. Mercury, if you watch my Mercury retrograde video, you'll get why sometimes Mercury retrograde is so hard for people. Their channels just bombarded by crazy energy from Mercury, messages, thoughts, intuitions, feeling, manifesting thoughts in seconds. So when you have Uranus involved with this, especially Jupiter, you get unusual and strange thought forms. Like, hey, where'd that come from? That was weird, So whatever, you have to kind of have that sense, that discernment of what's mine and what's not mine when that sort of energy starts coming at you. So whatever isn't yours, just let go of it. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't judge it. I mean, especially if the thoughts are kind of scary. Just trust your inner knowing, recognize that thought form exists and say, okay, that came from somewhere, but I don't really feel like this energy wants you to analyze it. I think it wants you to sort of sift through it and pick out what's necessary for you to begin that creative process. And then the last one is Venus retrograde squaring on Jupiter. I'm going to go into this when we in great detail when I discuss Venus the Morning Star direct. It's going to come out in about a week. Okay. So, but in a nutshell, this basically feels like the ascending baby Venus Morning Star. It might be an energy of too much versus not enough. What do you actually sacrifice for happiness? And is that truly happiness? Like sacrificing something to get happiness, does it actually make you happy? What indulgences can you let go of to begin your path on the Bodhisattva? So that's the energies of this full moon. That was kind of a short, quick video. I just want you guys to kind of understand that some bigger energies are coming, and we're going to go through all of this. I'm not leaving you guys alone. Next week is the Venus energy, so we'll be talking about this. We'll be developing these energies, and for me, the point is to become the Buddha, the Bodhisattva, the one who is enlightened in the flesh, is something that everyone can aspire to. You don't have to go into pay a bunch of money and be initiated into some sect or cloister and give up everything. You don't have to do that anymore. Not in the new age, the new energy that we're entering into. Everyone has innate access to this energy. And so you have to decide, how are you going to do it? Are you going to be the king? Are you going to be the captain? Are you going to be the shepherd? Some say you can do all three in one day. And so king, captain, and shepherd energy are here. Uh, Elevate yourself, heal yourself so that you can become of service to others. Okay. And so the very end of this article that I paraphrased for you suggested something very cool. And so I did that before I started recording this video. They say to say one intention at the beginning of your meditations and one intention at the end of your meditations. And so at the beginning of this video, I set the intention. I said, may my efforts here today be of benefits to others. And so we'll end this with a closing that says, may all the benefits that I've received benefit all beings everywhere. And so that's how we'll end it. Okay. All right, guys. Once again, please like this video. Please subscribe to my channel. Visit my website, drdani.com, drdani.com. Follow me on Facebook. All links will be below, as well as timestamps. I hope you all have a wonderful full moon. Thank you.